socio-cultural links between the two?
I could talk a lot about that, but to make a very brief story of it, in 1652, the Dutch East India Company decided that Cape Town would be a very good place to have a garden and a watering point for their fleets. Remember in those days the Suez Canal didn't exist, so they had to go all the way around the tip of Africa to get back to Europe. In 1658, the first slaves arrived. And the interesting thing about the first slaves and first captives that arrived at the Cape, they were slaves. Over 30% of them came from the Far East, from the Malay-Indonesian archipelago. Amongst them were ulama and royalty. For example, Sheikh Yusuf of Makassar, or Sheikh Yusuf al-Makassar al-Taj al-Halwatiya, to give him his full title. He was regarded as the crown of the Halwatiya Sufi order, was sent to Cape Town in 1694 as a political exile. Sheikh Yusuf of Makassar was an alim and regarded as a wali during his lifetime, so much so that he was in fact allowed to lecture in the Haram in Makkah. So we had people of this stature being sent to the Cape in exile. We had a lot of other famous scholars. We had a scholar we called Tuan Guru, Sheikh Abdullah Qadi Abdul Salam, who wrote a Quran from memory on Robben Island. And he wrote another book called Marifat wal Islam wal Iman, a book on Tawheed from memory on Imam As-Sanusi. Now, if you have pioneers like this in your community, you have a very good chance that through the good leadership of these people that your community is going to survive, which it has. These sheikhs, and I've only mentioned 2 out of about 30, were great teachers, and their legacy to Cape Town Islam was their teaching. But apart from that, it was their culture and their language, because the lingua franca of the slaves at the time was Bahasu Malayu, because slaves in those days, or people from those days, from Guinea to as far as Madagascar, could all speak Malayu. So the Indian slaves as well could understand Malayu. So Malayu became the language of the slaves, and until 1850, from 1694 until 1850, the language of instruction in Cape Town was Malayu. From that, you can see that from language comes culture. And the dress of the early slaves, of the early Muslims, was Malay. They would wear the old conical straw hats. The way that they used to dress, the women used to dress, was distinctly Malayu. It wasn't European and it wasn't Arab. You find that the words that we use in Cape Town, for example, Tamakasi is a word that we use in our community. Kanala. We use the word buka to break the fast. We use the word puasa for fast. And I could go on and on using very similar Malayu words which we still use in our community today.